There we go. It's on. We got some games from week 4, and the first one is Hot Dog Water and AweAwe.
Hmm.
All right, so we're in the lobby here, going to be getting started, and game number 1 is going to be on Circuit Breakers. Unlike some of the playoff games, these were all best of 3s at this point in the season.
Hmm. Yeah, because these did take place back in week 4. This was actually pretty early in the season. So, having watched some of we've watched all the later games. This is sort of an earlier look at some of our players, especially Hot Dog Water, who's one of the better players in the league. But interestingly, we have. Hello.
Oh, sorry. I just tabbed out for a second. The game froze.
Oh, okay.
We're good.
Do we have Hot Dog Water playing Protoss in this game?
We do. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe she subbed out or something. She subbed out for a
Hmm.
Protoss player and had to play Protoss. That is probably likely what happened.
Yeah, that is quite possible. So this should be interesting. I have not. I don't think I was watching this game, so I don't really know the result.
Yeah, and I know that she is pretty. I've seen her play Protoss a couple times, although it was later in the season. So I think this will be definitely a bit easier for Awe, facing Hot Dogs Protoss as opposed to Zerg.
Yes, of course.
Hot Dog Water, extremely good with Zerg, and to the point where CPL Season 3 will likely be restructured, but she probably will not be in that A team next season. She probably will be in something higher, depending on the season format.
Yeah, maybe a coaching position.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, so we do have pretty standard openings here. We've got a bit of a later pool. Um, we've got a forge fast expand coming out of Hot Dog Water. I think this pool was. I'm not sure if it. I guess it was 9. Um, but yeah, everything. Nothing crazy so far.
Yeah, this was
Just scouts.
yeah the
Oh,
nine. Sorry, the 9 pool is a pretty aggressive build, and the one thing is Hot Dog Water. Her forge was a tad late, and she did not probe scout after the pylon, which I think is the correct choice if you're gonna go 11 forge. She went 12 forge, which was a style that we played in Team Beast a bit earlier. But
hmm.
I think, just coming to realizing it with Dragon on the team as well, it is a lot more optimal to go for 11 Forge and then do our first Pylon Scout and then do 11 Forge, just because you're much safer against something like a 9 pool. But we'll see what AweAwe can get done with this. Only 4 Lings as opposed to 6, so a little bit more manageable.
Hmm. Yeah, and it wasn't like a 9 pool speed.
Right.
Uh, so he is just going for a third hatch at the mineral only. But yeah, I agree. This probe scout is so late that the Zerglings, if he lines them up on the ramp, they'll be able to deny scouting of the main, which usually you can always get your probe in.
Okay, these Zerglings gonna push the probe away. That's pretty good call from AweAwe blocking the ramp, preventing the scout is pretty important. Although the probe coming in here, okay, AweAwe quick on the reaction, is not gonna let that probe through. Interestingly as well, AweAwe went for the third hatchery at the mineral only, which is a little bit unorthodox. A lot of times we see Zerg either take the base in the 9 o'clock or take a secondary, another natural to get that third gas. Taking the mineral only expansion is a little bit different because Zerg's really crucial for them to get that third gas, and it's going to be delayed quite a bit here for Awe.
Oh, and we do have the probe actually going to slip in, get into the main.
Ooh, it's pretty big. Now the probe will be able to scout and see what the tech is from Hot Dog Water, and it's going to be able to respond. And it's going to mean that, well, depending on how long he can keep this probe alive, it's going to mean that the Corsair, it frees up his Corsairs to do something different. Speaking of the Corsair, Hot Dog Water Nexus, Stargate going down at 420. It's a pretty good time, between 415, 425. That's when that optimal Stargate timing is. So she got that first part of her FFE down pretty well.
Yeah, and obviously the probe in the main means that, we do have the hydraulic gun going down at the natural. I don't know if the probe has seen that, but obviously that would throw off some alarm bells in the Protost's head. Actually, we have a pylon going down.
This is weird.
Above the third base. This could be a cannon rush. But we do have this hydraulic gun upgrading hydraulic speed at the natural. I'm not sure if that's been seen, but it could be seen by this zealot. Ooh, actually, the Overlord should have spotted that pylon, I believe.
In vision, it just was barely out of sight. And he's Hot Dog Water's throwing down some cannons up there as well. Now, one of the things is he's got these two zealots.
Wait.
Oh, okay.
Zerglings. Okay, so I maybe it did see it. I'm not. Otherwise, it was a bit of a omniscient throw of some Zerglings up there. But I don't think this Hydra's been seen yet.
Yeah, the Hydras are just trickling in now, and one of the things is Hot Dog Water didn't realize that, and now AweAwe is coming in here with a 3-hatch Hydra play, and the cannons are only just finishing now, so the cannons might be up just in time. There's only one cannon now. It's a little bit dicey, so Hot Dog Water will have to pull the probes.
Does Hot Dog Water have the ability to drill? Does she have vision?
A little bit. She was microing pretty well against the Hydras, but AweAwe's Hydras are coming in here. They can slowly start to chip away at the forge and the gate, although with 3 cannons up, this will be repelled definitely in enough time.
And we do have Zealot legs more than halfway done.
So this is a 3-hatch Hydra play from AweAwe, and one of the things that means is it's putting Zerg a bit behind in tech here. I mean, they're not really droning up at this point, and anything beyond this, like Corsairs coming in, will be pretty much undefended. And as long as Hot Dog Water gets her Templar tech up fast enough, which actually her Templar Archives is delayed. The Hydras are diving in here, though.
Ooh, but they're repelled. And this was a pretty dedicated Hydralisk play. It wasn't just a, sometimes there's a play you can do where you make a couple. He is droning up at the moment, but he made a good amount of Hydras. You can make a couple Hydras and just take out the gate, take out the forge, and then you're not that economically far behind. You can still put down additional hatcheries and drone, but there's a good amount of Hydras still coming across the map.
Right, and she did get a couple cannons. There's going to be a 3rd cannon up. Crucially, the Templar tech is so far behind. Storm just being started now, although the
Zealots are just able to shred through this.
They don't even have +1, but she's been producing them really well, and this will get repelled. And at this point on, Hot Dog Water is in a really good position. She's been probing up quite well, and her tech beyond this point is going to be pretty far ahead.
Exactly. And has there been a Corsair out? Oh, this isn't a Corsair. This is a Scout coming out of Hot Dog Water.
That's insane. Scout's pretty much the most useless unit in Brood War. She's diving in with these Zealots. Is actually a really bad fight.
Yeah, like when you're engaging that sort of clumped up Hydra, a clumped up Hydra army, the Zealots just have no surface area on them, all the middle Hydras that are just doing damage the whole time, so it's rough. But we do have, let's see, is Storm done? Yeah, Storm is done, so. And we have the Scout.
Yep. Oh, a good Storm there. Actually, the dodging is decent from AweAwe.
Scout goes down.
Okay, another good Storm, though.
Yeah, that was a good Storm.
Yeah, I think she thought she was pretty far ahead here in this position, and she got the scout maybe as kind of a troll move. But that actually might cost her because, that's a decent investment, and it's delaying her Corsair attack quite a bit. Now, the Hydros are coming in here. There are no more storms left. The High Templar does not have enough mana, and this actually could be it for Hot Dog Water.
Yeah, it looks like it. Wait, this is about to have a storm. This could be a really good storm. We'll have to see. But no cannons left.
Oh, good storm.
Ooh, yeah, that's a really good storm.
But the Hydros are just streaming in here, and there's no storms left. He's still waiting for one to develop on the High Templar. It's about 15 energy off, and now the Hydras are in the base. They're going to start getting into the probes. Archon making a good hold at the top of the ramp, but at this point, Hot Dog Water is losing too much in terms of economy, and AweAwe charging in.
There will be 2 storms up in a couple seconds. So, there will be 2 storms up.
Okay.
But
yeah.
It's gonna have to. Okay, we do have 1 cannon up.
This hold is getting desperate for AweAwe. He threw a storm down on a lot of his probes. He had to pull it back, and at this point, there's nothing much he can do. He a couple of his storms there at the end. Her storms, I mean, were not the best, and now she's fighting with probes. This is pretty much it.
Yeah, because Hydras just keep streaming in. Always doing a good job continually streaming Hydras in. Just when you think maybe Hot Dog Water can hold it. She just has to face more and more Hydras. And Overlords here just in case Dark Templar come out, so.
Right. Yeah, I definitely feel like this was a holdable position from AweAwe. Or sorry, from Good Target, I mean. But being a little bit too aggressive with his zealots, her zealots, I mean, and, not saving the storms. Templar Tech was delayed, so she didn't have enough storms up at the right times, and will fall to this relatively all-in 3-hatch Hydra.
Yeah, and it seemed early on like it was held, but these storms were used a little, you want to be patient with your storms. They were used a little quickly, and then more and more Hydras were coming, so. Yeah, but it was definitely a dedicated 3-hatch Hydra into a 5-hatch Hydra bust.
For sure, and Hot Dog Water, of course, playing Protoss, not her secondary, not her main race choice, so you can tell sometimes the tech timings are delayed a little bit because of that.
But generally, the timing was fine. I just think it was a little strategical, a couple strategic decisions.
Right.
That just went the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So game number 2 is going to be on Talcross, and Talcross is one of the maps in the CPL pool that is definitely favoring Zerg.
Yeah.
So Hot Dog Water is going to be disadvantaged a little bit here, just from the outset.
Yeah, PVZ, the walling on this map is not most Protoss's favorite. It's not. No one likes walling on this map.
Right.
But yeah, maybe we could see something aggressive. I mean, generally, I think if it adjusts a couple things here or there, if a couple storms are held until the Hydras engage the cannons, or if the Zealots don't attack in, then we could definitely be looking at a Hot Dog Water win there on Circuit Breakers.
Yeah, definitely. Proved War games are a battle of effort, and looks like Hot Dog Water, just made a couple of decisions there. But forgot to introduce our players last time. But in the bottom here of Talcross, in the 4 o'clock position, the brown Protoss for Team Beast, it's Hot Dog Water.
And in the top right, our green Zerg, winner of Game 1, AweAwe.
And on Talcross, another thing that makes it unfavorable for Protosses is that third base is hard to hold for Protosses. And Zergs can also get that third gas up pretty quickly. So typically, I think this map is a pretty good map for aggressive 2-base play. Something like an 8-gate play, although it is pretty all-in. So if you want to play a longer macro game, or we just really don't see a lot of PvZ macro games in here because it is difficult to get that third. Certainly not impossible. But okay, we see something weird here out of Hot Dog Water. We have a 2-gate.
2-gate versus a 9 pool. So generally, what would you say? What would you say about 2-gate versus 9 pool? Because this is like a at the lower levels of StarCraft, these are two pretty common openings.
Right.
A lot of people like to open 2-gate for that, get macro at a lot of zealots, and people like opening 9 pool, so they have Zergling security, can deny scouting.
Yeah, I think in this 2-gate versus 9 pool scenario, it really comes down to the micro of the zealots. It's very, how much damage you get done with the zealots, because of course they do not have +1 at this point. This early comes down to how well you can micro them with a probe, and then whether the Zerg, how many lings they're dedicating to this. Because if you're coming in with a 2-gate and you're pressuring, and if you force a lot of lings, then that is a small win for you as long as you can defend at home. Although one thing here is he's trying to go for a forward pylon. I'm not sure that's going to get shut down pretty quickly. And this zealot coming in is actually in a ton of trouble because of how many lings there are.
Yeah, I'd like to see that zealot actually. Another forward pylon going to be denied there. I wonder what we're going to see here from Hot Dog Water.
Hot Dog Water's macro is not. Her gates are being empty for quite a long time. She might go for an expansion now.
It's a supply block.
Ooh.
So I think she's going to go for Nexus.
That's brutal. A supply block when you're doing a 2-gate, something like that, is really hard to hold. And he's charging in here with a handful of zealots and a probe. This is suicide. Yeah, without +1.
Good macro back on that damaged zealot that looked like it was just going to get surrounded and killed. But yeah, I think you should just go home and try to wall off the natural with it. It's going to be tough, but there's so many Zerglings out, but these zealots are not going to... You do have to say this is a aspect of the 2-gate has forced this many zealots. There are no drones at the natural. There's a very small amount of drones at the main. So I think this is just going to be a Zergling all in.
Yeah, this is pretty all-in from AweAwe, but it might pan out. He's getting good surrounds on the zealots, on the probes as well too. And if you can get it before any cannons can go up, this could be pretty scary. Okay, shield battery is up.
Ooh, a couple Zerglings not fighting, actually.
Yeah, the zealot macro is up, and I think Hot Dog Water, yeah, with the shield battery micro. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, the micro here from Hot Dog Water is pretty good, using the probes to fighting as well. And even though the zealots do not have +1, she's still using them in a pretty good way. And at this point, now it's AweAwe who's in trouble.
Yeah, those little probe hits make it so the zealots are 2-hitting. So it's like they have +1.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, because the probe obviously doesn't get targeted by the Zerglings. Now there's a good little amount of zealots out. I mean, not enough to just like go running across the map, because there's still a sort of, the total amount of Zerglings is sort of scary, but a lot of them are damaged. So, but yeah, this is like not a good economic position for AweAwe. He's going into a 2-hatch lair, which, that's not exactly standard. But like we said, we get a lot of aggressive builds on this map.
Yeah, he's going for a Spire, so he's going to be trying to bank up some gas for a Muta switch.
We actually have a gas not taken yet. The gas is just being taken at the natural by Hot Dog Water. So possibly the Muta attack early could do something.
Yeah, the Stargate is going to be delayed for sure, so that's a pretty good call from AweAwe. I think with his situation right now, I think going for a fast Spire is probably one of the better choices he could have made.
As long as he just makes sure to deny the scouting of the Spire from this probe that's trying to get in. I mean, there is a sunken anyway, but technically that probe could get a little glimpse, and then if you get a couple cannons in the main or the natural, then the mutas are sort of dead in the water.
Yeah, I don't even like that the Spire is in the natural. You know, just if a Zealot ran in here, could definitely scout that, and he just has to be careful with the Zergling, so probably will be unscouted, but it's an unnecessary risk, in my opinion, at least, although it likely will go unscouted. And Hot Tug Water also missed the gas in her main, so she is not mining a ton of gas, and her Stargate is not even started. The mutas are in production now, so he's gonna have to defend with cannons, but the cannons aren't even done.
Yeah. Yeah, and Hot Dog Water went Citadel first, not Stargate. Citadel first is building at the bottom. I mean, +1 is starting them. It is pretty true that this amount of zealots that are being produced, if they get +1, even if there are mutas and there's no anti-air, they could just run over AweAwe's base, because the mutas do not kill zealots very quickly.
Yeah, and that definitely will be Hot Dog Water's only option, because the mutas are in here, and there's pretty much no hope for the base of AweAwe. And now the Zealots are moving in here. Legs and +1 are only halfway done, so those are not going to be up. But we'll see. If the micro is pretty good, Hot Dog Water could still... This is pretty much a Hail Mary here with the Zealots, although cannons are going up in the natural. Okay, here the Zealots come in. There's only one sunken up, but the
mutas are coming back.
Yeah.
So that's one good aspect. It will allow the cannons to get up in the natural, so that will definitely get up.
A good drill there from AweAwe, and just defending really nicely. This is pretty much game, I think. Although they're getting some cannons up, and Hot Tug Water didn't lose too many probes. Her probe count is actually still pretty healthy.
All right, so a cannon is about to get up in the main base, and I don't think this is enough for me to. We'll see.
Yeah, mutas could dive on that. Although the second cannon finished. Actually could dive on that too, but just going to be getting some probe kills now. Hot Dog Water's throwing some Zealots at the natural again. They have +1, or actually +1's not quite finished. So this engagement is really not optimal for these Zealots. And
a bit of an anti-timing.
Yeah. So frustrating there for AweAwe, or for good Hot Dog Water.
We do have to remember though, there are not a lot of drones. Very low drone. Like even with a bit of probe damage, we've got way more workers from Hot Dog Water.
Right.
So economically, and into that into the two hatch layer, that means mining gas the whole time. So the mineral income for AweAwe has been low the entire game.
That's true. Although that may change a little bit here. The mineral line back here in the natural
is not,
Hot Dog Water
not naturally defended by those cannons.
So gonna be forcing some probes to pull off, and picking off a few probes here and there is a nice pickup for Hot Dog, or AweAwe rather.
Yeah, we do have an Archon coming out. That may be the answer. But yeah, interesting though, the Stargate would have been quite late, but Hot Dog Water's just opted to skip the Stargate.
Yeah, it's interesting skipping Stargate. I'm just choosing to try to defend on ground, because with the muta count, if by the time we would have put down a Stargate, it would have taken a long time to get enough Corsairs to engage those mutas. So the decision to stick with cannons and Archons, I think, is a pretty good one, and pretty safe. And once you get enough cannons up, you're perfectly fine.
Yeah, but the real question is, how is Protoss going to take a third base here? Like, we know it's already difficult enough on this map. AweAwe's sort of switching into a Hydra-based army, a more standard, like, fighting army. So if he is like, if he gets his, he's getting his drone count up. If he macros at a, standard Hydra army, are we gonna have enough of everything to fight from Hot Dog Water? Because the Zealot count is really low after losing all. Although she is pumping out Zealots, so that's good. Because the Archons, although very, obviously very good against the Mutas, are not that good against Hydras.
Right. Yeah, we have Lurker Tech on the way also for AweAwe, so, Lurker will be his transition unit, most likely.
Okay.
And getting the third up is slowly starting to drone up. Like you mentioned, his drone count's been behind this whole game. But now he's going to have the third gas available, and that's going to be quite scary once Zerg gets on that tech and they get into increasing their lurker numbers. Now, Hot Dog Water is coming out here with an Archon Zealot force, and the question is, lurkers probably will not be done in time to get those. Okay, actually, there's a lurker morphing at the third. But Archon Zealot coming in here is this is a pretty damaging force.
Yeah, and Zerglings fighting these is not going to be very good. Okay, but we don't have detection here.
Do not have detection, although there's plenty of room to do the Archon trick, move the Zealots close, and then attack the Zealot if he wanted to do that. But he's losing Archons. He's not attacking the Sunkens. This attack is not going well for Hot Dog Water. He just needs to get onto the drones.
Oh, we could have a big...
Oh,
we could have had a really big drone massacre there. So the army is sort of lost here for... Gosh, the second gas has been denied by 3 mutas.
yeah, that's the issue with not going Corsairs, is that the mutas can still abuse you a little bit, even if
Positionally.
Right, yeah, especially on maps that have this high ground behind the naturals. And not having that second gas is really going to hurt Hot Dog Water. She does have her third going up, but I'm pretty sure that AweAwe at least has some sense of that, or will pretty soon scout that. And then he might be able to get down with some lurkers and shut that down.
The only thing you have to say about that attack in from, we still have a Zealot running around the main. At least that's getting some good scouting information. But actually drones going down to the single Zealot. This is actually really productive. We've got
Oh my goodness.
One more. Oh. Yeah, that was actually incredibly productive. We could just have a storm on these mutas. Okay, Dragoons are coming out. Observers are coming out, but AweAwe might go just down and try to crush this. Yeah, the choke of this natural is going to be hard to get out of. Okay, +2 just finished. So even if the forge goes down, +2 just finished.
And AweAwe is not attacking the third. He has not scouted that. He needs to scout that soon, because attacking into the natural is not going to gain him much where all the army is. He needs to deny the third, but doesn't know about that so far. And the observer is going to be coming out. There's actually a decent army from Hot Dog Water. I think he will be able to push some of those lurkers back if he lands his storms.
A good storm here. Oh, that's a great storm.
Lost the High Templar there.
But those Hydras are so softened up by that storm. One big aspect here is going to be keeping that observer alive. We all know how hard it is to keep observers alive against Hydras with an Overlord.
Exactly. Ooh, it's at half health already. Those can go down so fast. I've actually pretty much now, I just get sight range upgrade as soon as I can. Sometimes even right after I get the building, because it's so useful.
Yeah, because having to run in that... Okay, so we've actually... Is this still unscouted? We've got 3 cannons up. If these lurkers are unprotected, then... Ooh, storm? Ooh.
Not the best storm. But
okay,
there's...
storm. It's not great. Okay, that might actually make them scout the... Oh my goodness, that's still unscouted. Third.
This is
so
going...
I think AweAwe is going to think he's in a much better position than he is.
Yeah, this is actually a really scary force from Protoss. This many storms, um, Dragoon Zealot, is actually it's super powerful,
Yeah,
and
+2 Dragoon army. And it sort of is like the natural counter to the lurker base play.
right. Although the Hydras are getting a good angle here coming down, the storms are not quite there. Although he sacked a lot of those lurkers, the storms coming down, this attack's getting pretty spread out from Hot Dog Water.
Ooh, where's our observer?
Just coming in here, I think he lost it. It got sniped. So the Hydras, the lurkers are getting free range on the Protoss unit. There's the observer though, and now it looks like Hot Dog Water doesn't have many units left, but he cleared the army and can start pressuring the third.
Yeah. And we could see a lot of Zergling reinforcement, because this, although there is an Archon here, this Archon should be able to just shred Zerglings.
And losing some drones as well. This is huge. His drone count, just finally got a decent, relatively healthy
Yeah,
count.
the natural is at a good count, but the main is actually still very low count, drone-wise.
And we see Hot Dog Water regrouping with his army, going in for another attack.
Yeah, and we've got
Okay,
we've got a good amount of cannons and a okay, yeah. Yeah, I think if we have AweAwe scout that third base, he can crush it immediately. And probably, you know, I mean, you still had a really strong army coming out of Hot Dog Water there, which was going to be hard to engage. But if you take it that third, Hot Dog's in such a harder position.
Right.
It probably at least goes on a lot longer. It just felt like so many lurkers were given away for free there.
Yeah, that's
sort of undefended.
Yeah, that is a good point. Lost a lot of lurkers there, and when he's containing the natural, he's not really getting anything done. He allowed Good Target to just get a good goon +2 army attack prepared, and really didn't accomplish much. And the third, was up and running, which Protoss on 3 bases can get a ton done. He was pretty much on equal economic footing with the Zerg, which you never want to happen. And that is why Good Target, or not Good Target, sorry, confused. Hot Dog Water won. All right, for game number 3 here on Crossing Fields, we've got the Red Zerg at the 11 o'clock position. It's AweAwe.
And in the bottom right, the purple Protoss from Team Beast, Hot Dog Water. And so, Crossing Field. I think we've said it many times when we've cast together. This is a good map for macro, but it always ends up being aggressive because it's a 2-player map. You know where your opponent spawns. Although, if you're smart about it, you can hold your ramp. Whether it be with zealots, probes. But I'm expecting some sort of Zergling aggression here, even though the map does suit itself for good macro play.
Right. Now, one of the interesting things in the PvZ is historically, or at least at a higher level, we do see gate first is pretty common. But in the CPL, a lot of players just started going forge first at the third, which is harder to defend. But then if you defend it, then you've got 2 bases guaranteed. We do see Hot Dog Water going for the gate first, which I think is the more typical, more correct response. But in the CPL, there's definitely, you're not quite held to those strict guidelines. You can get away with things that sometimes you shouldn't. Although both players can be going for the more standard, being a little bit aggressive with Lings, and then going for a gateway, although there's a second gate added on, so now this is aggressive.
Yep. Yeah, 2 gate. Yeah, I mean, I think it could be, I mean, generally if you're going 2 gate, you're gonna be going for aggression. So maybe like even a holding of AweAwe's ramp or something like that you can do with the zealots, and it's so inefficient. They sort of have to get like Hydras, because Zerglings will just they'll engage over and over again. Ooh, we have a proxy hatchery at the top right.
Ooh,
This might be the larva strategy on this map. I remember this from the last ASL, or the ASL before the last one, where he played against Rain on this map and went proxy hatchery zergling all in. Although this is going to be scouted, and you can drone drill even if they're holding the ramp, but you have to have vision of their main.
right, and the main issue, I think, is that Hot Dog Water scouted that, so this is not going to be
Yeah.
nearly as effective.
Yeah, because Hot Dog Water knows there's not. Although actually, she doesn't know there's not a hatchery at the front now, but she knows there's not a hatchery at the back. So it's kind of a big deal that this doesn't get scouted. And seeing the gas go up. Ooh, she's gonna be able to scout. There's no hatchery at the front. Oh, okay. Actually, she doesn't. So for all she knows, there could be a hatchery at the front, but probably not.
Actually, Hot Dog Water allowed these lings to slip in here, so this will be annoying. If she drills good with or defends with the probes well enough, then we'll be able to defend.
Ooh, but you don't want the Zerglings to engage the Zealots. Once you get them inside. Ooh, and they're good micro from Hot Dog Water. Gosh, these Zerglings are going to die without even killing a drone. And that's just really rough.
And AweAwe's macro as well, not been super good. The extra hatchery at the top had 2 larvae for a very long time. And Hot Dog Water might be able to just march up with a ton of zealots here and roll Hot Dog Water.
Yeah, this is so many Zealots. See, if it had been like a fast expansion to the back, then this could, be really deadly.
Although
we do have these first 2 Zealots having a rough engage with the Zerglings, but there's just so many Zealots streaming across the map. Ooh, but the proxy hatchery Zerglings are now coming up.
Yeah, this is scary. There's two zealots here, and they're actually taking a pretty good fight. Hot Dog Water's micro is pretty good with the injured zealot, but they're getting into the line here. Although we could just see this happen. What happened last time? They don't really get too many probe kills because they're waiting too long. Yeah, the Zerglings are getting split up, attacking a pylon, and this is going horribly for her.
Oh, yeah, that's really rough. Oh, and it looks like at the same time we had Zerglings fight or did they run by it? There's so many Zealots right now in the main of AweAwe. Yeah, it needs drilling, but there's not enough Zerglings here. I think this is just gonna be a loss.
Yeah, the drilling's actually decent.
Okay, the sunken does finish, so that will wipe it out. But there are speed Zerglings in the base now.
Yeah, now this will be annoying. She's starting to get her tech now. Her cybercore is very delayed, and without +1, fighting against speed Zerglings will be harder. Although the sheer number of zealots is just going to be tough for Hot Dog Water, or tough for AweAwe rather, to deal with. Getting confused because normally Hot Dog Water is always a Zerg, so thinking of this. And some lings slipping in again.
Yeah, and this sort of like aggressive, like micro-based play is something that Hot Dog Water is really good at as a Zerg.
Right.
So, I bet if she had been doing this build, we'd just be seeing endlessly, probes dying.
Yeah, it's a tough spot because when you have this many probes, it can be tough to just engage into them if you're pretty good at stacking on the minerals.
Although we do have just a good flood of Zerglings continually coming up.
Yeah, so the probes stacking again, and the zealots, Zerglings won't get too many kills.
Yeah, that probe stacking's so effective. A second shield battery coming up.
Ooh, and now it looks like, okay, Hot Dog Water attempted to kind of trap his Zerglings there, and GG is called as this attack is petering out, and
Hmm.
AweAwe won't be able to get anything done really with those lings.
Yeah, as he scouted that back base that was up and had probes mining, he GG'd. Because he knows he's so economically behind if Hot Dog Water has a second base.
Right.
Um, yeah, it was a good idea for an aggressive play though. The that like sort of location for proxy hatcheries never scouted. Um, so maybe if he had waited a little longer for speed zerglings, or just like made more like the zerglings have the speed, or the zerglings have such micro ability that if you were just able to continually effectively micro them, you could just like win a game off of that, but not
Yeah,
that time.
it's true. You know, those proxy lings definitely caught Hot Dog Water off guard. She was not prepared, and if she was, or rather, if AweAwe was a little bit more precise and had a little bit better micro with her lings, could have definitely gotten some probe kills in. Then we could have started to see a snowball, but just didn't happen as the zealot control was top notch with for Hot Dog Water.
Yeah, and just the continual zealot production just makes it makes these zerglings, it makes their AI really dumb. Like when it comes to like attacking, you don't want them attacking the zealots because the zealots will win. So you want them like running around them, but when you can't like attack move or anything like that because they'll just run after zealots.